All right, we want to get started then? All right. All right, good morning, everybody. I guess let's go ahead and get started here. So, hi, everyone. I'm Greg Schultz, Marketing and Creative Director at Instantiations. And first of all, it's great to be here in France for my first ESUG. And I think, the organizers and volunteers have done a great job pulling this all together. It's been a great event so far. So I really like getting to know some of you better. I hope to get to know more of you. But a little about me for those who haven't had a chance to meet me yet. I've only been involved with the community about 4 years, but I've really enjoyed it. And I have a background in marketing, graphic design, and web development. And I've always loved working with engineers and engineering teams, development teams. So Instantiations has been kind of a great place for me to land. And if you'd like to get to know me better and you want to talk about something outside of Instantiations or the VAST platform, I really like talking about video game history from the 80s and 90s, but be warned, if you talk to me about it, I might talk too much about it. So, but I'm happy to have that conversation. But enough about me. Let's talk about Instantiations and what we're going to be doing here. For those who are not familiar with Instantiations, we're the developer of the VAST platform, or VA Smalltalk, as it's been known until recently. And prior to that, and before 2005, when we acquired the line, it was IBM Visual Age Smalltalk. So in this session, we'll talk about what we've been doing in the past year and where we're headed in the future. And then we'll get into what's coming in our next release, VAST Platform 2024. And generally, this will be a fairly quick session, so there'll be plenty of time for questions after the presentation. All right, so I wanted to start with what we value as a company, because this really kind of laid the groundwork for what we've been doing in the past year and where we're going in the future. And in short, our core value, or the thing we value the most as a company, is people. And this isn't just about our people or our staff, it includes our customers and the community here as well. So it probably goes without saying that our customers are important to us, and they're of course instrumental in our success, but I think Instantiations and VAST are instrumental in their success too. We like to think that's the case, and we strive to contribute to help them succeed in whatever way we can, with engineers providing them support. And whenever they have an issue, they come to us, and we're happy to help. We're excited to help. As far as the community, I think we're all stronger as a result of us all being here and us, having a community like we do. And we're happy to be a part of it, and we love to give back where we can. That's why we sponsor events like this one, as well as small talks and other events as they come up. And honestly, we also contribute to open source code projects when we can as well. So. And last but not least, our staff. And it's a really tightly knit group of folks. And without our awesome engineers and some others on the team, Instantiations wouldn't exist either without them. So in our view, our emphasis on people has led to our continued expansion of VAST and new opportunities over the years. And now with all that said, what's the result of us putting this value on people, right? And in this past year, not unexpectedly, it's resulted in some new opportunities for us. So we're growing as a result, and we're growing quickly to meet the demands of what is acquiring a new business line. So this is great news, and it's big news. And again, the main driver of this new business line that will be starting early next year is having the right people and groups of people that we've formed relationships with, and we've set up, things with, and it just put us in a great position for this new line. And while I can't go into any of the specifics of the line at this point, the important thing, and we'll be making an announcement with more specifics later, but I think the most important thing about this is that the VAST platform, Smalltalk, is an integral piece of the technology that's driving this new business. So, this further solidifies the importance of VAST, the longevity of VAST, and so we're not the only, so our customers aren't the only ones using this product with their organizations and their customers. We're using VAST ourselves to serve customers. these new customers as part of this new line. So we're using it beyond just being the creator of it, right? And ultimately, this new business line will allow us to continue to invest directly more into VAST itself. So as part of this, we'll be expanding our staff. And this is going to be a pretty dramatic expansion of our staff in the next 6 months, with a team dedicated specifically to this new business line. And then simultaneously, we're adding VAST engineering resources as well. So we've recently brought on board a longtime community member, Henrik Johansson, or we call him Henry, which you may have seen in our VAST community forum if you go to that place from our website and on the Google groups. For the organization as a whole, we brought on a CISO, a Chief Information Security Officer, to help with the new security requirements and other business-wide improvements that we kind of need to do as part of this. But these are just two of the many resources that we'll be bringing on board to help manage the new responsibilities as a company and kind of manage this future further growth. Another part of this that's making it all possible is continuing to add a solid foundation to VAST and instantiations. So, and this is with new technologies. We've already talked about technology like Rust being used as the backbone of our new Unicode framework, but generally we're adding even more performance stability and kind of usability enhancements to VAST 2024 and other VASTs going forward, of course. So. If you've used VAST in the recent years, you know how extremely stable and fast it is, and that's only going to kind of continue. We've even started an initiative to improve the system for support case tracking. So in the coming year, you'll see a really improved user experience in a portal where you can track cases versus what we're doing now. So it's going to be a really good enhancement as far as how our customers communicate with us in a support channel. It'll give them more visibility and functionality. And then finally, some other ongoing improvements are happening as a result of all this, right? So as part of growing our organizational capabilities and with the help of our CISO, we're currently working on SOC 2 readiness. And for those that aren't familiar with what SOC 2 is, it's a US kind of centric certification. It's very similar to ISO 27001, so it's a kind of a high-level framework for cybersecurity protection and due diligence. And again, it includes built-in audits to confirm our compliance on an ongoing and regular basis. So this is all again for working for those customers and those more demanding industries that really need to adhere to these kind of stricter regulations. So then, other than what I just talked about, what's upcoming for VAST or instantiations more generally? So at a very high level, we're constantly reviewing what we can do to improve ourselves and the VAST platform, of course. But beyond that, again, more growth. We're in a growth phase at the moment that will kind of continue for the foreseeable future. And it's an exciting time for us. We're looking forward to new possibilities and things that result from it. But that said, the management team at Instantiations is, very carefully monitoring the growth to ensure, sustainability and stability. And, in many ways, it's more important than the growth itself to be sustainable with it, right? So next, again, it's staying true to our values, who we are as a company. There's going to be this continued emphasis on what we value as a company. It's, our customers, our community, and our staff. And I think this is ultimately what's brought us success, and we believe it's a recipe for continued success. So we found that, honestly, solutions tend to fall into place when you put the right people in the right places. So we're going to continue kind of going along that route. And then, and I know we've talked about this before, but, every community, Smalltalk included, needs kind of infusion of new ideas. And for us, this means getting inspired by great technologies and approaches and lessons learned from others and kind of adapting those needs to VAST and adapting them, to the needs of VAST and instantiation. So, we've already talked about Dart, but we've learned, or Rust, but we've learned lessons from Dart and Swift as well. And they've been the building blocks for asynchronous frameworks and our Unicode support library. And again, we're going to continue looking outwardly for those kinds of lessons. But looking outwardly is not just about inspiration, but sharing our expertise as well. And we've seen significant adoption of our port of Vast's compression libraries to Dart. And we're kind of sure this continued approach will yield other kind of useful exchanges, back and forth in the future as well. And, furthermore, building bridges between communities and sharing and porting of code is, of course, beneficial for everybody. But I think ultimately it ends up educating other developers outside of our community about Smalltalk too. So by taking this approach, I think it's possible to grow Vast and Smalltalk usage generally, beyond just this community. And I think that's really important. And it all just starts with this, mutually beneficial exchange of ideas and technology. And again, that's why we think looking outward is such an important thing to do, and incorporating, the broader computer science community into what we do is important. And finally, with this exchange of information, and R&D is also a big part of what we do at Instantiations. So we'll keep bringing new technology and new ideas to the table. And Vast is a great platform that can integrate these new technologies. And we know web-based capabilities are becoming more and more important. We'll be focusing, and we've seen that with our customers, right? And we'll be focusing more on those kind of new communications protocols, and our asynchronous frameworks will be using a lot of those. A lot of those will be using our asynchronous frameworks, excuse me. And these are, the cases that we're optimizing for, because, again, that's what our customers are kind of needing and wanting and desiring. And, we'll still continue addressing all layers of the stack of the thick client applications where there's demand to do that. But, honestly, it's important to us to anticipate future needs as well as current ones. So again, that's our job, to kind of manage that roadmap and make sure that everybody's covered now as well as in the future. So with that, let's talk about what's coming in the near term, Vast Platform 2024. So for those that go by versions, it's version 13. And to start off, the features list is pretty much finalized for Vast 2024 at this point. But we're several months out at this point. But as always, if we have something that comes up, we try to slide that in at the last moment, as we always do. Little fixes and enhancements and things like that where we can. So first of the planned features it really comes down to performance improvements. So we're going to be using SIMD algorithms, and we found, we're seeing dramatic speed improvements in various parts of the Vast platform using these algorithms to kind of enhance some things. So that is something that will be coming in the next release. And then this Unicode story with us is continuing to evolve and be fleshed out more. So again, more Unicode integration, deeper Unicode integration, and at this point, it's really focused towards database support. So, all of our supported database drivers will be able to use Unicode as well as Glorp. So we're going to be moving forward on that front as well. And again, this story will continue with Unicode and future releases as well. Code editor updates, code editing with more possibilities for new visualizations, Unicode enhancements, things like that. And as you could before, but there's an expansion of this. You can use other languages in the code editor now too. So again, lots of good changes on that front. For those that are familiar with the new table widget, we're kind of building that functionality into Window Builder and ABT parts to include that common control in there as well. So again, expanding the reach of the table widget common control. WebView 2, if you didn't see Mariano's talk a couple days ago, I'd encourage you to look at the recording of that once it's released. But meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Mariano. But for those that aren't familiar, it allows this bi-directional control between Smalltalk or Vast and Microsoft Edge, and you have a really cool opportunity for hybrid applications at that point. And then internal build improvements. Now, this isn't maybe the most glamorous thing in the world to talk about, but it's something that's really translates to what the quality of the Vast platform. So we're we are expanding performance and coverage tests to ensure even fewer regressions or performance hits. So we want to make sure everything is as good as it can possibly be prior to the next launch. So the best way to describe this is, we have even more automated performance regression testing that we've built into the platform and the build process. And then finally, and this is an interesting one, multi-year GTK development has begun. So, there's a lot of things that GTK can do for our look and feel and development experience in Linux. And GTK will also provide this better path forward for, vast compatibility on things beyond Windows, beyond Linux. So as other things come down the pike, that kind of gives us some flexibility to go onto more platforms at that point. I will say that it's a potential feature for VAST 2025, but we're still kind of evaluating. GTK is quite a large undertaking, so we'll let the community know kind of our progress as we go along, and if it will be in fact a VAST 2025 release or if it will need to go longer. Again, it's important to us that we do it correctly and do it correctly the first time. So we'll keep the community updated on how that goes, but that has begun at this point. And then, of course, like with most releases, dozens of other features or fixes and enhancements to existing features and things like that. So again, just another solid release is planned at this point, and our, again, improvements internally are just doing all the more to help ensure that. Beyond that, so with all that said, at this point, we're planning a Q1 release of 2024. So beginning of 2024, we're looking at a release of VAST Platform 2024. Although realistically, we'd really like to push it more towards the end of the year, so November, December timeframe. So if we can make that happen, great. Again, we want to do it right rather than earlier. So when it's ready, it'll be out, and yeah. So at that juncture, that's pretty much it, folks. Thanks for coming to this first presentation today. I know for some it was a late night last night, so I really appreciate you being here. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Greg?
Yeah.
Are you planning HTTP2 support in VAST?
It is on a list of potential future things that we could do. I don't have an ETA on that specific feature at this point, though. But certainly, if you have a need for that, reach out to us through our support channel, and we can see about prioritization and how that could fit into the broader scope of the roadmap and where we're going with VAST.
Okay.
Thanks. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.